Welcome to Tom Papa's Come to Papa.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Come to Papa. So spooky around here. Here we are on Halloween's Eve, and Paul and I are at the studio, and things have been definitely going wrong.
Yeah, it feels like a Scooby-Doo episode.
It does. Started off today. Hello, everybody. First of all, sorry to be so rude, but when you have so many crazy antics happening and it feels like the demons are at work, you tend to get a little, shall we say, distracted.
I thought you were going to use a Halloween pun. It tends to get boo-rific or spooktacular.
We'll save those for the end of the show. First of all, hello, everybody. Happy Halloween. This is a big Halloween week. It is the end of October, going into the best month of the year, November. It's Tom's birthday month. It's very exciting.
And you get to grow a mustache.
I'll be in Cleveland on my birthday on November 10th. Hilarities. Finally going back to Hilarities. 3 shows there. This week we're in Austin, San Antonio, and Kansas City. Austin, I believe, is sold out. Kansas City and San Antonio still have some tickets available. Go to tompapa.com and look up all of the wonderful dates. I wanted to start off by saying this morning the kids are going to be getting up and putting on their costumes and stuff, and because they had their little Halloween thing. The fire alarm starts going off in my house. I have a fire alarm. It's like individual fire alarms, but they're also hardwired, so you don't have to worry about the batteries. So it's like all connected.
Right. Oh, that's the worst.
And there's a lot in very high ceilings.
Oh, yeah.
And there's and we just kept pulling them and turning circuit breakers off. A good solid hour of beep, beep, beep.
And you have family here and everything.
My parents are here. They're running around in their underwear. The kids are trying to put their costumes on, and they're, of course, having problems, so that's becoming an issue. And you know, whenever you're trying to like fix something and do something, everybody else wants to help, and you get aggravated because whenever you're fixing something, or if your dad's fixing something, and then your mom's always like, "Well, did you try turning it?"
Yeah.
Yes, I tried turning it.
It's like the Christmas Vacation when he's, did you check all the bulbs?
Yeah. You're like, yes. All right, come on. We're all trying everything. Did you try YouTube? Yes, we're trying. Beep, beep. 85 decibels.
Oh, my
you hear
God.
it outside. I wouldn't be able to tell you what 85 decibels was until today. And it's piercing. It goes through your skull and out into the neighborhood. So we had to pull every one of them down. It was a whole shedangadang.
Man.
And then Paul gets here, and we're about to start the podcast, and we have to become, you said Scooby-Doo. I was thinking, well, we're in California, we're a little more like Chips. We're 2 investigators.
Hardy Boys?
Someone's Hardy Boys. We were the Hardy Boys.
We had no weapons, that's why.
We had no
Chips.
weapons. We had to go check on a neighbor's house because apparently they thought someone was breaking in. And so we went over to investigate. We brought Bella, the guard dog, with us. I have to admit, when I was hooking Bella up, I was like, well, Bella's a big black lab. She's looks like trouble. Mm-hmm. And I was like, well, I don't want to like come around the bend and have them shoot Bella.
Yeah.
But then again, better than shooting us?
Yeah. Well, we hope that they hear something bark and they're like, we'll run
Yeah, they don't want to mess with it.
You'd hope their first instinct isn't to shoot a dog
Right.
when they're robbing a...
And 9 times out of
Backyard.
10, these people that go and do these robberies, which, every neighborhood has them, I suppose, unless you live in a place with people with morality, they can't carry weapons because if they get caught, that's a whole different thing.
Mm-hmm.
If you get caught just robbing a house, you're out that afternoon.
Right.
You have a gun on you or any weapon, you're going to jail. So if the guy, let's say we went around the corner and there was a dude, what would your instinct have been?
Get out of here. Go away, go home. Like a...
Get out of here what?
Go away, go home.
Oh, go away. I thought you said goy. Yeah, just start making noise.
Or just look back and said, yeah, there he is, fellas.
People... Right this way, Officer Sawyer. Yeah, the thing you got to do is make noise. You got to make a lot of noise, like a bear. You got to make a lot of noise, and they get scared and skedaddle out. I remember the very first time I babysat my sisters when I was like 12, and my parents went out, and I stayed home and watched my sisters, and they were asleep. I've told the story to you before, I think, and I heard something outside, and I was like, "That's weird." And then I heard the garage door slowly kind of open, like a little bit. So I started to freak out, and I was like, I turned the TV up really loud, and I had my baseball bat. I turned the TV up really loud, and I started having a fake conversation with myself. So I'm like, what do you think we should watch now? I don't know. What do you think we should watch? Is the Love Boat on? And just started making noise like that. Let them know that we were home.
Right.
And then heard something in the backyard after that. And what happened was someone was coming in. They had gone through the car.
Oh, wow.
And went through like the boots and everything and to see what they were made of and stuff. And then they were going into the house. I made the noise. They took off, and what I heard was them running in the backyard. Right?
Yeah.
So by the time my parents came home, I was sitting there with my baseball bat and just waiting. And they're like, "What's up?" And then we put all the clues together. So we always make a lot of noise because they don't want confrontation.
Yeah, yeah.
They want to split.
That is crazy, though, that, like, you say that that places get robbed, but I think for the most part, that's a
Big city problem?
Not an old wives' tale, but it's basically to sell security systems and
No.
yeah.
Au contraire.
How many places
In this neighborhood,
Yeah.
we know of like 8.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like within the last 2 years. These guys are these professional guys.
Mm-hmm.
They come in nice cars, and they drop someone off, and they go into the thing. They hit it. They're in and out within like 30, 40 seconds. Mm-hmm. Try and get the jewelry, and get out. And yeah, it's multiple places. And they know the alarm's going to go off. They don't care. They know there's cameras. They don't care. And they just go, do it, and split. And one of the stories, they actually caught the guy. And the other ones, they did not catch the guy.
Sounds like an inside job.
So, yeah, it happens.
But before this...
Before what?
No, before you lived here, how many places that you lived in were either robbed or you saw...
Well, I lived in New York City for a long time, and that's, so you can't really tell. People aren't breaking into apartments because there's everybody around. A house just sits by itself on the end of a lane.
Yeah, that's what I'm...
Waiting.
I don't think
unguarded.
One time when I was in Queens, I had when I was driving a Dodge Neon in New York City, and I'm pretty sure that someone just slept in my car.
Yeah.
There's nothing to steal. The window was open and the driver's seat was reclined. That was it. Which is good.
Every car I've owned had been gone through at some point. Yeah. We just had. Here's another thing that they do here in Southern California. You know how all your cars are opened by your key fob, right? You could either click it or just walk up to it, whatever. They have a remote now. Your keys are in your house, in the kitchen, sitting on the counter. A person walks by, they hit the remote. It, like a remote control, dings off of your control in the house and unlocks the door of the car.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So they did that. They pinged it and took our garage door opener. And my wife woke up and the garage door was open.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. The good thing is Bella would rip them to shreds.
Yeah.
So, and we have, all of these cameras and other things going on. So we're pretty protected that way. But people are always trying to do it. And, you realize L.A. is a big city. It's a big, sprawling city.
Yeah.
It's New York broken down into, 20 square miles.
Right.
So, if you can come slide into some place where everybody's at work, and a lot of times people that working in the neighborhood will tip off their friends and let them know that, the guy across the street is gone. It's always happening.
Well, that's what when I said inside job, that's what I feel like. It's like somebody who's supposed to be working and they're working in the house and then nobody's there, or they see that nobody's in the next house. It seems like because people in California, they hire a lot of people to work on houses. I've never been in a place where somebody's fixing 4 different things on a house at the same time. You know what I mean? So there's just a lot of people going in and out of a neighborhood, and you can't really tell who's here. Like if I was in my little town growing up, I don't know anyone who ever locked their front door.
Right.
I don't know anyone who had a security system. It's crazy.
I know. It depends where you live. Maybe we'll just have to move to a place where people are kinder. Well, I guess. I don't know. But I got to tell you, I was ready to show off my karate moves because I was leading. You were behind me. Bella was leading. I was second. And you were had the rear flank.
I was pretty sure that no one was in there until you said that there was glass broken. Because you just kind of led me on this journey without saying there's a large, shadowy figure smashing things in the back. You didn't say that. You just said, "Hey, let's check out the back."
Well, I
pool.
didn't know until they called again and said it looks from their security thing that they might have broken the glass in the back. But I didn't see anything. I just saw a big fat gray cat hanging out. Man, I should have karate chopped that cat just to let my neighbors know that I mean business.
We should have broke the window just to scare the guy.
We should have broken the window and taken all his stuff. That would have been the way to do it. Yeah. I mean, what a perfect thing. A comedian who writes all day and just sits and watches the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Pretending to be looking out for everybody. And you slowly go and steal everything.
It's like we work for did you ever see the documentary, The 7-5? It was all the cops in New York. They worked in like the most dangerous part of New York. And so like, they would like, let's say there's a robbery. They're like, "Oh, we got robbed. Is there any?" The cops come. They're like, "Are there any valuables?" And they're like, "There's $2,000 in cash in like the top of this closet." So the cop goes up there, steals the money, and is like, "Yeah, it's gone."
Yeah.
This is the cop telling the story. This is what he used to do.
It's great.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it's the way to do it, man. We got to go to a life of crime. Get with the winning team.
The Sting.
Well, all right, before we talk about Halloween, I have a great story for you.
Uh-oh.
So last week when we were talking here on our little podcast, people's favorite podcast among all the other podcasts, we talked about drivers. We talked about drivers and drivers who are a hazard to everybody in their line of business. We were trying to go to San Luis Obispo, and we didn't. We had this horrible driver, and I don't want to rehash the whole story, but basically he was messing up our entire day.
Yeah, an hour late. We had to go right to the show.
It was rough.
And do it.
And so we were aggravated. We told that story, and people thought it was funny. Anyway, I fly into L.A. after our great show in Dallas. Great shows this week in Spokane, Livermore, and Dallas. Amazing shows. They were all great.
So cool.
So we had to leave super early on Sunday, and you ended up flying out of a different airport.
Yeah.
So I didn't even see you at 6 a.m. I get on my flight. I'm coming home. My parents are visiting. My kids are home. It's Sunday, family day. I have some cooking to do. So I fly into LAX, and I get a text saying who my driver is from the company that I use. And I'm thinking, this will be fine. There'll be no problems because the company's solid.
A-list, yeah.
A-list. And, that one time when you and I really needed it to work, it didn't work, but it was okay. We'll never see that driver again. He was horrific. I didn't complain. I was going to. I honestly just got busy and I just didn't get to it. So I land, and I come walking up, and who's standing there with the sign saying Tom Papa?
No way.
Same exact the same exact guy.
No way.
Hundreds of drivers. If you request someone, you'll see a driver a second time. Very rare to see a driver within like 2 or 3 years. I come walking up. He sees me.
Oh, my God.
I see him. I kind of smirk a little. I'm like, hey. He's like, hey. Same driver. We go walking. As we start walking towards the car, he says, I just wanted you to... I was excited when I saw your name because I wanted to redeem myself because I've never been late once on my job.
Really?
And I ended up at that wrong terminal, and I know it was bad, and I just wanted to try and redeem myself. And I was like, it's okay, it's fine, whatever. But I'm inside, I'm thinking, oh, man, I can't believe this guy again. We're going to get in the car. It's going to be hell.
Then you're like his dad because he's going to disappoint you again.
We start driving. I want to change the guy's name for the story, so I'm going to call him Dave. We are driving home. Dave is the nicest person I've ever met.
Yeah?
Dave is somewhat of an angel. Dave is... I'm so relieved that we did not call and complain.
Oh, yeah?
And have Dave fired from his job.
Really?
Dave, he's driving a little slow, I'll give you that. But Dave starts telling me that he is getting married in January. He met his girlfriend at church when he was 12 years old. Mm-hmm. He met this girl. She was 10 years older than him. She became like a friend of the family. He's now in his 30s. She's like in her early 40s. And they're getting married. And he wanted to... he just loves her to death. She just gives and gives and gives to people. And he wanted to give something in return and knew she deserved to be happy. And he just worked at his job driving people for a year straight while they're dating. Overtime, just constantly working. She's getting aggravated. Why are you working so much? He won't tell her why. And then he presents her not only with the proposal, but with all of the money needed for the wedding. So they're getting married in January, and he gives her this ultimate gift. He works through his church. He helped this blind guy get bionic eyeballs at UCLA, and he's not turning it on, by the way. This is me starting to ask him questions.
Okay.
This is me trying to poke a little, and he's so soft-spoken and so almost reluctant to give the information. I'm telling you, he may be my regular driver from now on.
Just goes to show you, folks.
Is that amazing?
Well, I will say this. The lateness was not the only problem with Dave. Right? He did have the GPS in his hand instead of on the dashboard like a driver.
Yes.
I mean, this is a Escalade thing that all you do is drive and you have your GPS on there. You shouldn't be looking down every 2 seconds.
I'm going to tell you what happened.
And I told you my theory. I told you I don't think he said he was in another terminal for 45 minutes. I think he was just late.
Paul, this guy is not a liar.
Yeah.
Dave is.
Oh.
Dave, I'm telling you.
Yeah, there's no church people that are liars.
Nobody. No, I'm telling you, we read people all our lives, right? So we're very observant. It's our job. I'm telling you, what happened that day is he knew we were pissed. He knew he was in the wrong spot. He may know that he may know us from our careers, and he knows it's a major screw up, and he freaked out, and he was a wreck. And that's why he was bumbling, and that's why he was spazzing. He was freaking out.
Yeah?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know, man. That was like, in terms of like energetic people, so let's say a normal person is a 5. He was kind of like at a 3 anyway, and probably was at a 2 energy level wise. Like if you hadn't told me about the church, I would have said, "Here's a guy who's hungover and doesn't really want to talk," or
he may have been exhausted.
That too.
Who knows what it was? But I'm telling you, it was like a lesson. It was a. I mean, look, we never complain like that. We never get pissed on the road.
Well, we didn't even complain that day. We were just like kind of didn't say anything.
Right. We never have an issue.
Yeah.
For us to have an issue, it has to be completely off the charts.
Right.
And that day was, and we have last week's podcast to confirm it if you want to go back and listen. But the fact that we did not call, and the fact that I got him the next time I come into LAX.
And he was on time?
And standing there, on time, looking sharp, ready to go, 9 o'clock in the morning, and tells me this tale. And I'm telling you, like a kid, like a 30-year-old, not a 30-year-old's a kid, but he had like a childlike face. Mm-hmm. When we got here, and
large guy, like 6'5",
big dude.
Yeah.
When we got here, I said, "Good job, we did it." The smile that broke across his kid-like face, was like relief and joy, and it meant something to him.
Oh wow!
It truly meant something to him. He wasn't just like, here you go, jerk off. I know how to drive. There was a kid like, I did it.
Yeah.
Wow, here we are. Here's the tip. Thank you. Good night.
Right.
I'm telling you, not that we need the lesson. We didn't shit on him that day. We weren't yakking it up with him, but we weren't, I'm sure, and I know from drivers who I use regularly.
Yeah.
The people, if they're 2 minutes behind, will just rip them apart.
Right.
The whole ride.
Yeah.
And just,
Which never helps.
Never helps. You don't act that way to anybody. We didn't act that way. We were quiet because we knew we were in a pressure situation. As soon as he got near the house, we had to jump out of the car and run. Mm-hmm. That's fine. But he knew from the silence probably that there was tension.
Yeah.
Anyway, my point is we didn't need the lesson, but the lesson was given. And good thing, I guess the lesson is you never know what the full story is. Mm-hmm. So, like, to destroy somebody, like if we had called up and said, "Don't you ever give me that guy again. You should fire this dude."
Right.
You don't know what his circumstance is. You don't know what's really going on.
That is true. But and the reason that I do like working with you, because you're like me in that when something does go wrong, a lot of people either complain about it or try to make it more miserable. But both of us are like, well, how do we get this done? How do we get this fixed? Like we're an hour late. Here's what we got to do. Yeah. And then maybe later on you start complaining about it. But like when we're in the moment right here, you know, it's like in sports too. When like somebody fumbles, you can't like you can't just stop playing. You have to keep playing. And that's
exactly. It's like, all right, we can sit here and go through this 100 times, but we're here now.
Or ask him where he was or what. Yeah, that doesn't help anything.
Doesn't help. We still have to get to the car and get to San Luis Obispo for the show. Yeah, you just got to deal and be like, okay, we're here now, let's go.
Yeah, and then later
on
you
your
can,
podcast, and then you can take a dump all over him. So it was really pretty remarkable and pretty great.
Do you want me to tell you how this ends?
Yes.
I know how this ends.
I would love to hear it.
By the tag on your pen cup on your desk, Tom Papa will be the officiator of Dave's wedding.
Oh, you're looking at my clergy?
In January.
I'll be doing his wedding?
Yes. That's how it's going to end, Tom.
Well, here's a big question, and that might lead that way. As you know, I've done a bunch of weddings, and the only way maybe fate has it in for me and Dave to see each other again. But you're actually making me want to do it now and like offer it to him. But the guy, there's only one driver who I kind of try and use.
Right,
he's a good guy, and he's been around for a long time. And but he's so busy. He's like an older guy, and he's been doing it forever. And like when guys come from Saudi Arabia, he like drives them for a week.
Yeah,
like big, the head of Showtime or whatever. Like I try and make him my regular. He lives kind of near me. It's nice when it works out. I like the familiarity of it. He's a great driver. He doesn't make you nauseous.
Yeah,
it's all good. But he's very busy, so I would say I only get him 50% of the time.
Right.
Do I tell the company, may I have Dave as the backup?
1 for 2?
I either get my number one guy or I have the A team and the B team.
I'm just saying, are you getting Redemption Dave, or are you getting... Because there's an awful lot of nice people that aren't very good at their job.
He was very nice, and as he was blowing me away with his niceness, I did look down, and he was going about 40 miles an hour in the middle lane. So
he might like you too much, Tom. That might be the problem.
That's a problem too. I think I'm just going to leave it in God's hands.
Yeah.
And if he crosses my path again, so be it. He's not good enough of a driver to just be like, all right, I'm going to take the nauseating route.
Well, I had that same situation on the plane. I was sitting next to someone who, and that's what I also try to do too, because whenever you're sitting that close to somebody, like if I have an aisle seat, the middle seat person, you're basically living that person's life because you're sitting so close to them.
Yeah.
So it's like everything they do is annoying you. Like the way they pull their bag, because this is a big thing. The people in the middle, they don't put their bag up, so they put it in the front, and then they spread their legs out, or they put them out.
But don't you find in those situations? Don't you find a lot of it has to do with your mood and your psyche during that day? Like some days you walk through the supermarket and you want to kill everybody.
Yeah.
Everyone that's crossing your path is an idiot. The person taking the bag next to you is a moron. Mm-hmm. The guy it's right. And then other days you walk in and when things are okay and you're just in a good mood, you could run into the same scene, shoot the same scene with the same people doing the same stuff, and you're kind of okay with it. Don't you find that?
A little bit. I'm pretty like in the middle most of the time. Like I'm not very like. I don't get.
You don't want to kill them, but you don't love them.
Well, the other reason I was going to bring.
But
this
you
up,
hate the person on next to the plane is the reason I'm asking.
Well, the reason is because I'm a big proponent of personal space. I'm not like, when somebody can just like spread out and like everything on speakerphone, playing music. Like, if you have no concept of like other people around, that's the problem I have. So like if somebody that's sitting there is like this girl had like her feet her foot was on like the rest to the left of me.
Ugh.
And she had like both, and then she crossed her legs, so then it was literally like almost on my jeans, like the bottom of her feet. And it was just like too much.
So you're annoyed with her because she's acting like an idiot.
Well, but that's the way everybody is. Everyone tries to get comfortable, even though there's no space. Like there's no. It had the guy that's reading the paper and slapping your head with the.
This goes back to my other theory that. It's not the other people that are to be blamed. It is the airline to be blamed.
Right.
It's the company. It's not only just the flights. It's the DMV. It's the whatever. That you're taking all these people who are just trying to get through it, and you're putting them into an uncomfortable, almost impossible situation.
Right.
Right?
But you told me, the thing that you told me about was, because what I started doing is that's when I do my meditation. Like during the boarding, I just like zone out, and I just don't. I have headphones on, and as soon as I get on the plane early, and I just sit, and everybody who hits me in the head with their bag, it doesn't bother me. And then, but you told me, because that's what I was like, who are these guys that are just pounding beers on the plane, like if you're in first class?
Right.
And you said it's because they're nervous.
Yeah, because they're scared.
And so it's the same thing with those people. Everyone that's trying to get comfortable is still freaked out. So, and I noticed this girl, she's spreading out and everything, but then she's turning the air on, and I can see she's like kind of sweating. Mm-hmm. And then I was like, and then she pulls out like the barf bag. So she's like, and she was like super like nervous about flying. That was the thing. And afterwards she was like, I'm so sorry. I don't know what happened. I just get nervous and that kind of stuff. So I was so happy that I didn't like say anything about her feet or anything, because that's all she needed was like one more thing to like be worried about.
She was losing it.
But it's still
I had that on a flight once where this woman was an older woman, and older, like 60s, and she's kind of like frumpy, kind of like disheveled, and she's like moving like in her seat like a weirdo, like she's like literally like turning and kneeling on the seat, facing the back of the seat, and twisting around. And I made eye contact with this guy who was sitting next to her, and he shot me a look like, oh geez, we got kind of a kook here,
got a live one here.
He starts talking to her. Halfway through the flight, I turned to see how it's going, and he shot me a look like I was the ass. He had obviously spoken to her and realized she was freaked out or in pain or something.
Right.
And I wasn't like, I'm just a guy across the aisle. I'm not trying to be like, rip her apart. I was just looking, and he looked like we had bonded as like, this woman's a moron. Yeah. And I was still in the moron camp, and he was woke. I had a girl behind me, a woman who literally passed out, face down, and the guy behind me is like calling. We're about to
from
take
San
off.
Francisco, right?
Yeah, we were about to take off, and we had to go back to the gate and get her off. And she was sweaty and uncomfortable, and she just passed out and lost it. And I started thinking about myself, of course, in that moment, and was like, I'm starting to get hot. Yeah. But again, stuffed into this commuter flight with all these big people, normal-sized people who now seem gigantic. It's like we're all walking around a dollhouse. Yeah. This is not how you treat people. Right. It's just, of course people are passing out and punching each other in the face. You're putting us in this situation that's horrible. All right, so tomorrow is Halloween. And as you saw or smelled, when you came in, didn't it smell nice when you got here? Yes. The Halloween chili is already completed.
Now, is that something you're just trying to get to catch on?
I've been doing it for 15 years.
But Halloween chili is like a thing? Or this
it is in this house.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's your
cornbread, fried chicken,
pumpkin,
Halloween chili.
Pumpkin chili?
You want Halloween chili, you gonna do the Papa House.
I think that's New Orleans.
You gonna come to the Papa House and get yourself some of that Halloween chili.
I guarantee
your Halloween is gonna be bodacious and delicious when you come to my house and have some of the Halloween chili. Con, con. It's all done. Bam. 11:30 this morning.
You got the chili done, but what about the costume?
Well, you gave me that great idea to have a inappropriate ventriloquist dummy. And I tried to get like an old-timey one, like the weird wooden ones, and I couldn't pull it off. So I got one that looks a little more like a Muppet.
Yeah.
He's in a little suit and tie, and he's got big bushy eyebrows.
Yeah, it looks funny.
So I got him, and he's definitely going to be a fun character.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know if I go all black and be like, I'm not allowed to talk, and just let him run the show.
Yeah.
Or do I have to try? To dress like he's got a bright blue shirt and a yellow tie. I can't really. I don't have that.
You can have him talk to the kids though when you answer the door. That's
completely.
Cool.
Yeah, but my question is like, do I get credit because I have a person on my hand? Is that enough of a costume?
I thought maybe you're gonna do like some kind of psychopath Muppet guy, like a murdering Muppet person, or you could dress exactly.
Who knows how
like
the night's
it.
gonna go?
Yeah, you could dress up exactly like the puppet. That was the other way to go, but you got to get like the exact same clothes.
That's the problem.
I almost pulled the trigger on a costume last night that would have been a disaster, I think.
Why?
It was a cool costume. But then I think in these times, these sensitive times, it might have been an odd choice. For a house full of Italian people, anyway. They had this great Pope costume.
That would have been great. I was a Pope once.
It's like they make them really good now. And I put on the whole gown and the hat, and I felt like better than everybody already. It was cool.
Yeah, that's why you see my little clergy thing.
And then I was like, oh, I wonder how many people would be offended by this one even. Because they do have like the priest costumes. That's pretty popular. My mom was always a nun on Halloween. She would always dress up like a nun. And so I guess people have a sense of humor about it, but I was just like, oh, man, I don't want to be.
You totally should have done it.
Well, I have another one down the pipe that I think is a little bit better, but we'll see.
All right. Very exciting. We've got the chili. I have not ordered the cornbread. I'm going to have to do that as soon as this is over.
Yeah, so it's a big day for us. We got the party, and then we're off to Kansas City at the Tobin Theater.
Yes, sir.
And then Austin, Texas, and then San Antonio. So it's going to be a big week.
And then hilarities after that, and then we roll into Thanksgiving.
And then we're retired.
It's the last chance. Yeah, then we retire. And we're done.
I do really think about that once in a while. Like
retiring?
When you do like the last dates for a while, like you're off from live from here for a month.
Yeah.
And then basically like after hilarities you're done. So can't you just think like, hey, I think I'm done. Just in your head, you can say like, what if I'm just a regular person for like 2 days?
I actually watched a scary movie last night, and I think it was the first full movie I've seen in like, I don't know, almost a year.
Yeah?
Just because all the writing was kind of under control.
Right.
Hereditary?
Yeah.
You saw it?
Yeah, I saw it.
That was scary.
It was yeah, it was what's the word? Disturbing.
It was disturbing. You know it's scary and disturbing when as you're watching it, you're like, it's not so scary. You're just convincing yourself. But there were a lot of good twists, and
you gotta see that in a theater though. That's like,
yeah, that must be intense in a theater.
Just the sound.
Yeah, because it was loud, and I kept having to lower it because we had kids sleeping. But man, yeah, it had real intense sound, real intense. I don't know what I want to say, action, but kind of.
Yeah,
it was good.
It just kept jumping around, and then
when she's up on the ceiling.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert. That was cool. All of a sudden, it was like, oh, when she's banging her head on the thing. Yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah, it's like when
good and spooky.
When like everything's so like clean, and even scary movies aren't very scary, and then something like that is like 100 times what you're even ready for. It's like, oh wow, that's the way to do it, man.
Yeah, whoever was behind that did a great job.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, very spooky. Tonight, changing gears and going with the classic Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein.
Oh yeah,
So funny.
that's cool.
It's such a good one. And it's all like the original guys playing the original monsters.
Right.
So you've got, was Lon Chaney and whoever else.
And what's the guy from Ed Wood? Bela Lugosi.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Frankenstein. That's a great one.
So you didn't
recommend
go to any of the Rob Zombie Halloween stores or anything?
Where are they?
Check it out in Burbank, Halloween Town. There's like 4 stores right in a row.
That's Rob Zombie?
Yeah, he's
No.
like initially like
Boris Karloff.
oh yeah, that's who it is.
That's the original Frankenstein.
Yeah, there's one store that's like just like that memorabilia that he would collect, like from the Munsters and stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
And then there's an actual like costume store that's year round. But then just for Halloween, there's a kids store and an adult costume store. So there's like 4 right in a row.
It's a Rob though.
That's his original thing, is the one with all like the memorabilia and stuff. I
He
think
owns the other stores.
I don't know. I it's all the same name. Like they said he's affiliated somehow, because I was like, they have like all these like props and stuff, almost like Planet Hollywood, like from the Munsters or from
Right.
like Halloween or something like that, like his movies.
That's cool.
Yeah,
No, I haven't. And now I'm
get
not.
into the spirit.
Did you see the Good Frankenstein on my Instagram?
No,
Hilarious. A fan.
Good Frankenstein.
Well, I'll let you be the judge. Show you right now. Kapow, kapow. Here you go.
What's good about him?
Look closely. Closer.
He's got weird eyes and he's smiling.
Closer. Come on.
Got a crack in his head.
Get in there. Take a look.
Is it you?
It's me.
Oh, did you face swap or something?
I didn't do it. Some dude did it.
So you can
That's
play
me
it?
as Frankenstein. We have the same chin.
Yeah, but your head is like the exact opposite of that. Yours is like a rounder head. That's like a flat head.
Yeah. I think I'd look better with a flat head. I said to him, I think this is the best photo I've seen of me all year.
Yeah.
Me as Frankensteins.
Well, as you know, the big thing with us, a lot of people talked about you with my gold shoes. As you know, the gold shoes that I've worn the last couple times
They were
on
a big
stage.
hit out on tour.
And they said, "Oh, you could be Liberace," and then someone posted the picture of you as Liberace's manager with the big sideburns. So I think we gotta take the stage apparel up a notch.
There's something to that.
You gotta take a choice, Tom. You gotta go.
The Mike Judge series on Cinemax? Where
Tales from the Tour Bus?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing.
It's amazing.
Best show on TV.
Best show on TV. He takes these great, it's a documentary style thing on these great artists, Jerry Lee Lewis and...
Yeah, they're all country people.
All country
George
people. Now he's
Jones.
going into R&B.
Oh, is it another singer?
Yeah, he's going to do...
another season?
Rick James.
Oh, cool.
And a bunch of guys like that. But this was all country, was the first season.
Yeah.
And I was watching last night Jerry Lee Lewis. So anyway, it's animated. They animate it, but it's documentary style. So they just animate what the guy exactly looks like.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like they trace over it. And they tell these great stories from the tour bus and how insane these guys were. And it's really worth watching. Anyway, I'm watching it last night. And there was a great one with Jerry Lee Lewis. And he's in his car, and Liberace's walking down the street. And he's in full makeup and his full outfit, and he's just like cruising along. And Jerry Lee Lewis saw him as competition because he was another great piano player.
Yeah.
And then And Elvis, of course, was his other competition because he wanted to be the king of rock and roll. And Elvis was walking around in his get-up all the time.
Right.
And, and I opened for Smokey Robinson, and he came out in his all-red jumpsuit this summer. He looked amazing. Wouldn't even walk on the gravel because he didn't want to get his boots dirty.
Right.
And I've seen him on flights, and he's always dressed. He's always got it turned up a notch. And I always, like, when I travel, I always have a jacket on. I try and, like, I try not to slum it. But that's you're right. Like, if you're going to do it, why not just do it?
Yeah, do it all the way.
Go all the way. Why don't we walk around like rock stars?
Well, that's what there's 4 guys on my flight from Dallas that were British guys because I heard them talking. Mm-hmm. But they all had long hair. They all were wearing the same dumb like 80s. I'm like they have to be in a band. They can't walk around like this.
Yeah.
Anywhere else. They can't work at Starbucks looking like this. They have to be in a band. And it was like I was like I bet they're good. They're just dressed like they're good, or else they wouldn't.
Right, exactly. Yeah. We got to all right. We got to focus on that. All right, before we go, we're going to tell some horrible Halloween jokes. These are so bad because as comedians, a lot of people ask us why we don't have these kind of jokes in our heads, and it's because they're terrible. And we're going to prove it. Bella.
She doesn't want you to tell them either.
She's so aggravated. She's like, can't you just end the podcast on a positive note?
What if Dave listens to the podcast? That's what I was thinking of.
I was thinking it too, but he works too hard.
He would have said something, I bet.
Yeah. What a lesson. What plants like Halloween the most?
I don't know.
Bamboo.
Oh, my God.
Why did the policeman ticket the ghost on Halloween?
I don't know why.
Because it didn't have a haunting license.
Why would he be haunting?
He's a ghost.
Oh, hunting. I get it.
Oh, God.
It's your joke.
What are the ghost's favorite rides at the fair?
The...
2 of them.
The... Ferris whale.
Could have been. The scary go round and the roller coaster.
Oh, mine was better.
What would you find on a haunted beach?
Dead bodies.
A sandwich.
Oh, I get it. But witches aren't ghosts, are they?
It's haunted.
I have a problem with that, like, theoretically. Do you have a big closer?
I'm just finding them as I go.
I did, we have a video up from the tour on Patreon, and I have one thing that I'm going to put up from me on the TV news when I was a reporter.
Ooh.
I did a Halloween episode where I am dressed up in different costumes, and it's probably the most embarrassing thing that I've ever done. I'm hitchhiking as like one of those big ghoulies, but then I do a Star Trek impersonation.
Oh.
Three Stooges. this is it looks like it was on cable access, but I did it on an ABC news station.
Oh my God!
So
that's on the Patreon page.
I'm posting that on Patreon for Halloween.
Awesome.
So
and we're also going to post for Patreon. We're going to post the Halloween episode.
Oh, nice.
That we did live at the Village Underground.
Sweet.
All right, a couple
more. Build up. Oh, I thought you had one.
Why do ghosts like to ride in elevators?
I don't know.
It raises their spirits. That's really bad. All right. let's get this party started, shall we?
Is there any ghost sightings on the other than the neighbor across the street?
No, not yet. We might carve a pumpkin tonight, so who knows what's going to happen. Ooh, 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 ah, ah, ah.
Now, would you do something like this? You're cutting the pumpkin, and then you have the fake blood packet in your hand, and then you just start... you yell and pretend that you cut your finger off and scare the hell out of your kids? Is that something that you would do?
It would only work if your kids would be worried if you did cut your hand. I'm going trick-or-treating with my mom tonight. It's the only time I can take her out, and she's been dead for 10 years.
Jesus, that's dark.
It is really dark.
That sounds like Psycho.
My wife said to me yesterday, honey, I think we should do something really scary for the kids this Halloween. And I said, well, we could always take them to your mother's. Classic.
Get it?
Classic. The best part of Halloween, this is one that you would tell about your old bachelor life. The best part about Halloween is that the cobwebs in my house look like decorations. Get it? All right, and this is the inappropriate one. It's short, and we're going to end on it.
Does it end our career on it?
Nah. Why don't witches wear panties?
Because their vaginas are haunted?
They get a better grip on their broom.
Oh my God.
Oh, that is scary stuff right there.
I'm not even sure if they know why that was inappropriate.
All right, well, that's it for our Halloween episode. I'm going to post the new Halloween thing. Hopefully there won't be any more antics. Hopefully the alarms won't go off anymore. Hopefully the neighbors won't be calling us and luring us into their backyards to be killed. What if that's what the plan was? Just tell them to go into the back. Then they take a picture of us as the people that were breaking in.
Yeah.
And they get us sent away to prison.
Our fingerprints are all over that.
Oh, Bella's going to jail. Kansas City, San Antonio, Austin, Cleveland. You're the last stops on the fall tour. And then next time we're going to be out. It's
That's right.
Winter time.
We're retiring.
So
this is the last waltz.
So get out there, show up, and we'll have a good time. Someone brought me cupcakes.
Yes, that was amazing. Thank you to the woman who made the cupcakes in Dallas. That was the best.
Strawberry shakes.
Tom is too healthy backstage. All there are carrots and hummus. And that was like, it was probably, I ate 2 cupcakes.
You did.
And it was like, it was too much.
It was so good.
They were great, but it was like, I should have waited till after the show. I was like...
You ate 2 before the show?
Oh, no. I had 1 before and then 1 after I was done. But it was still 1 too many.
I love the idea of you quietly while I'm up there still working, eating a cupcake and enjoying your life.
Yeah, I was just sitting side stage. I had frosting all over my face.
Awesome. All right, I'm going to sneeze, so let's say goodnight. Enjoy your life.